Internet, what is really, really, really good? You know who it is. It's the one and the only, the triple, the G.O.D. And I'd like to welcome you guys back to another episode of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And today, because it is such has been a hot button issue this whole San Diego Comic-Con, is that we're going to talk about The Killing Joke. Because a couple of minutes ago, I just finished watching it. And with all the controversy about the stuff about Barbara and things like that, I really feel that it's something at least worth talking about and discussing. But first, however, because this is me and this is how I do, I got a history lesson for you because it's what I do better than anybody else in the business. 2003, because I forget the exact date, is I was at the library because I need to get on the internet, use the computer. You know, what I always used to go to the library for. And while I was waiting, you know what I'm saying, for the hour to come up so I could get on the computer and handle my business, it was at this point that my local library starting having comic books and graphic novels and things like that on the shelf. So it's like, I went over there, you know what I'm saying, and was just looking through. And then I stumbled upon The Killing Joke. Reading The Killing Joke changed my life. Because before that, my interaction with DC superheroes was very limited to the DC animated universe and what it provided. And for the record, let it be said, it provided something that people to this day still love and appreciate. However, The Killing Joke changed that for me because it presented characters that I have over the years, because of my interaction with the DC animated universe, became familiar with and completely showed me a new way. Because it was at that point after I read The Killing Joke, that's when I got into comic books and started reading and collecting them, and still do to this day, albeit digitally, because there are really no comic book shops in my hood for me to do so. So, you know, I still, you know, keep on with my favorite superheroes and stuff like that, and all the good stories and everything that go on. Like I said, The Killing Joke, reading it that day at the library, like I said, it changed my life. It changed how it is that I viewed characters. Like I said, viewed characters that over the years, because of the DC animated universe, became familiar with. And at the same time, what it did was it reaffirmed for me a valuable life lesson that I understood, that The Killing Joke just brought back and was like, here. This is what things are. This is what they will always be, no matter what. The long and short of the next thing I'm about to say is this. You should watch The Killing Joke. I would, however, suggest to you to read it, because it's one thing to watch a well-done adaptation of something I have loved for 13 years. There's another with sitting down with The Killing Joke and reading it. Because there's something different, and it's something that I've noticed. It's something different from watching something in front of you unfold, whether it's an animation or video or whatever, versus sitting down and getting intimate with a book. And it's something that I still appreciate to this day. It's something that I appreciate, and I'm going to say this live, about holding something tangible and turning the page. It's the same way I feel about the argument about physical versus digital video games. Is that digital is wonderful, but I need something tangible to hold in my hand. And in this instance, like I said, sitting down and reading The Killing Joke back in 2003 and looking at that book and going through page by page and watching this unfold changed my life. And I have to thank that book for what it did for me. And I'm glad that I got to sit down and watch an adaptation, a wonderful, damn good adaptation. Because Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, they killed it. Tara Strong, she did a thing as Batgirl. And I really appreciate, again, that because they got those three, it brought my childhood full circle. It brought that all these years that I've been watching the various DC animated shows, is that I'm watching The Killing Joke. And I'm hearing the voices that I grew up with tell this amazing story in a way that I can respect and appreciate. But that's not what we came here to talk about, though. What we came here to talk about is what has the internet, and has had the internet up in arms all weekend, is the Killing Joke. For what it is not really that long. So the adaptation of the Killing Joke adds a filler to before the events of it, and it involves Barbara, and you might have heard of it, about the relationship between her and Bruce and the sex that they have and all of that. Here's the thing. For like the 3 people in the audience who haven't watched Batman Beyond, because that's my shit though, is that the show touched on very early. Bruce and Barbara had a relationship. It went sour, and then she married some old black dude. That's what had happened. In the context of how it fits in the Killing Joke, and the key word in that sentence and underline is, as I said, the word context, is everything that happens to Barbara predating the events in the Killing Joke as it happens in the adaptation. It makes sense, because even for everything they throwing their hands up about how that treats Barbara, hell, how the Killing Joke period treats Barbara, and it's like it's been for years on the internet flaming back and forth that the Killing Joke should be altered. Hell no, because to kind of sort of give away what the Killing Joke is, it's simply this tagline: shit happens, deal with it. That is the Killing Joke in a nutshell. Shit happens, deal with it. That's the whole underlining subject of what the Killing Joke is about. And the pre-stuff to the Killing Joke in the adaptation deals in that complete narrative of shit happens, deal with it. That when shit happens, you deal with it the best way you can. And I appreciate that part of the adaptation that they added to the Killing Joke let us see Barbara in that way, because maybe it's a mistake, as they say, to make business with pleasure, because that is exactly what that was. Is that instance where Barbara and Bruce do what they do? That is a mixing of business and pleasure. I see the arguments too about, maybe Bruce Wayne shouldn't be fucking the girl he trained to fight crime. But here's something you need to understand, internet. Relationships grow, and they blossom, and they change, and they adapt, and they evolve. Maybe if you saw it from that perspective versus Batman and Batgirl, don't see it from that dynamic. See it as the relationship that it is, and allow it that room to evolve, allow it to adapt. But instead, you just hop to the final conclusion that this is a thing that should not be happening, and this and that. No, that's not how that works. Because trust me, the same people that's on the internet throwing all in and lodging all these complaints about it wouldn't want their relationships to be touted out in such a way to where people point fingers at you. And yeah, we are sitting up here talking about fictional characters, but it does not change the reality of how relationships work. And no matter how the relationship exists. And that's the point that I want to get across about that whole Bruce Barbara sex thing, is that, again, shit happens, deal with it. I don't want to say anymore, because again, anybody questioning that needs to sit down and watch The Killing Joke, the adaptation as it is all the way through. Because again, that context, because again, the internet took this one thing completely out of context, away from the narrative where it belonged, and it blew it up into this major thing, when that's showing it the utter disrespect that an event like that needs to be a part of this medium. Because It's not a part of the Killing Joke, no. Because no matter what, it ends the same way. They could have done anything to pad out the movie, but it ends the same exact way. A gunshot and whatever proceeds from that magical gunshot that has been a thing since 1988. All in all, like I say, today's word, children, context, internet. Learn to put things in their proper context. Don't make assumptions. Watch it. Take all of it as it is, filler and Killing Joke, together in context of everything. And remember that the tagline of the Killing Joke, from the way I've always seen it for the past 13 years, is shit happens, deal with it. See it from that context. See the relationship between Barbara and Bruce from Barbara's point of view. Don't see it from your objective looking at it. Look at it from all the directions you can look at it. Love is a strange feeling, and it makes us do strange things. But again, that's not the context the internet's looking at it from. They're looking at it from their objective point of view because of history that doesn't matter in the context of what you're looking at. That Bruce and Barbara's relationship is this over here, but is that over there, and it's something like this up the street somewhere? None of that matters. Context into that. The word of the day, let me repeat it for you, is context. It's spelled CONTEXT. This is a classroom. We get our spell on. Context, internet. Please. For your boy. Please. Context. Put things in context before you hop to conclusions. I'd appreciate that. The simple all in all of this whole thing is, Mark Hamill killed it as the Joker. That was the thing he was going to come out of retirement of, the dupe. He gave the story that I love so much life. He gave it life in a way that I knew not only that he could, but that he would, because he knew that telling this story for a character that he is synonymous with, he made it work. Kevin Conroy been doing this thing forever. When I read comics with Batman in it, I hear his voice when reading it. So, it's like, it used to get strange sometimes when I used to watch things with Batman in it, and it wasn't Kevin Conroy's voice coming out, and I had to learn to get used to that. And there are people on the internet who are still not used to, they attribute certain voice actors with certain characters, but you gotta learn to let the characters be that, it can't be that voice every time. And Tara Strong, she killed it in Batgirl. Again, like I said, bringing the full TAS full circle by taking this story that gives the Joke a life in a way that before the Killing Joke he never had. Because he had his origin story and all that, but the Killing Joke gave him something he didn't have, and it's something that the many incarnations of the Joker have had with them since then. So to see it adapted in that way, is amazing. It is a must watch. But definitely above a must watch, it's a must read. It is a must read. Sit down, read The Killing Joke. I would suggest reading The Killing Joke before you watch the adaptation of it. It's my suggestion. It's my suggestion. I've had a 13-year head start on most of y'all. But if there's a way that you can sit down and read The Killing Joke before you watch the adaptation of it, it's my suggestion that that's how you should do it. But that's it, that's all. That was longer than I thought it was. But remember, children, today's word of the day is context. 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 Let's learn to look at things not from your objective point of view, but from the point of view that matters. And usually that point of view is not your own. Learn to look at things in context before you say ignorant things on the internet. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. But that's it and that's all. So this gonna go up. I got some other stuff planned, so you will see those things when it's time to see those things. With that being said, I am of course the one and the only the triple the G.O.D. And this has been another installment of Triple the Guy Speaks On. And with that, I will holler at you guys next time, man. Peace out.